You will have a living scene by the end of this. Not a slow zoom, not a fake parallax. Real motion. A photo of a street becomes a car passing by. A portrait breathes. Runway Gen-4 takes one still image and turns it into a 4-second video clip where objects move the way physics says they should. You will upload a photo, adjust one slider, and export a clip that looks like it was shot on a camera. No green screen. No keyframes. No animation skills required. This is the closest thing to magic that exists in a browser right now. If you produce content daily, you know the grind. You need a video for every social post, every ad, every product page. Filming costs money. Stock footage looks like stock footage. You are stuck recycling the same 3 B-roll clips. The problem is not creativity. It is time and budget. Image to video removes both. You take an existing photograph you already own, or one you license cheaply, and you get a moving shot. This is for YouTubers who need atmospheric cutaways. For e-commerce sellers who want product shots without a studio. For real estate agents who have a still of a house and want a video walkthrough feel. For anyone who pitches ideas with storyboards. Instead of animating a flat panel, you feed in a concept sketch and get a motion preview. The tool kills the bottleneck of waiting for a videographer. You control pacing, mood, and motion intensity. No crew, no location, no lighting setup. That is the exact job this feature exists for. Here is how you actually do it. Create a new project and switch the model to Gen-4. The interface asks for a first frame. That is your image upload. This matters because the model reads this image as ground truth. It builds the motion from every pixel, so the starting photo defines everything that follows. Use the highest resolution source you have. A compressed JPEG will give you artifacts. A RAW export or a high bitrate PNG gives the model clean data to work with. Drop the image. Now you see the generation settings. The key control is the motion slider, which goes from 1 to 10. This is not a speed control. It is an intensity control. A value of 1 gives you subtle breathing, like a leaf moving in wind. A value of 10 gives you full scene transformation, like a person walking away from the camera. The default sits at 5, which balances realism with predictability. For a first pass, keep it at 5. Then set the duration. Gen-4 allows up to 10 seconds, but 4 seconds is the sweet spot for output quality. Longer clips introduce drift. Drift is when the scene slowly morphs into something you did not ask for. Stick to 4 seconds for your hero shot. After that, you pick the aspect ratio. Match your source image exactly. If you upload a 16:9 still and choose 9:16, the model will crop the frame. You lose composition. Match it. The last option is the prompt field. This is where you describe the motion you want. Do not describe the scene. The image already carries that. Describe only the movement. Write car drives from left to right, or water ripples gently. Keep it to 5 words or less. Specific verbs beat adjectives every time. A prompt like slow pan with wind gives you camera movement plus natural elements. The model respects the physics of light and shadow from the source, so the motion looks consistent. Once you hit generate, you wait. A 4-second clip runs about 45 seconds per attempt on a decent connection. You will get a preview. If the motion looks wrong, lower the intensity. Do not change the prompt. The relationship between the slider and the prompt is where you find your result. The slider controls how much energy the model applies. The prompt guides the direction. One controls magnitude, the other controls direction. That is the mental model to keep. Try a variation by changing the seed. That randomizes the motion path while keeping everything else identical. You might find your perfect take on attempt 3 or 4. When you export, choose ProRes if you plan to composite in post. Choose H.264 for direct upload to social. Either way, you have a moving image in under 2 minutes of active work. I ran a real job on a client's product launch. They had a photo of a mechanical watch on a slate surface. Static, clean, studio lighting. They needed a video background for their website hero section. I uploaded the shot at 3000 by 2000 pixels. Set the motion slider to 6. Prompt: turning hands with light reflection. For second duration. First attempt gave me a slight camera shake, not what I wanted. Second attempt with the same settings, but a new seed gave me a slow rotating dial and a moving specular highlight across the metal case. That worked. The clip ran 4 seconds at 30 frames per second. Export size was 12 megabytes as an H.264 file. That is good for web use. The total time from upload to final export was 3 minutes and 20 seconds. That includes 2 generation attempts and the export render. The client approved it on the first review. The cost was 1 credit per generation attempt. I used 2 credits, which sits under half a cent on the annual plan. Compare that to hiring a videographer for an afternoon. That job would have run $300 minimum for a setup like this. I delivered a better result in 3 minutes. The motion felt organic because the physics came from the image data, not from a scripted animation. The reflection moved with the watch face, not against it. That is the difference between Gen-4 and a filter-based tool. It understands the geometry of the scene. The limits will bite you. First, faces are a problem. If your image has a close-up portrait, the model tends to drift into uncanny territory past 2 seconds. Eyes become glassy, skin texture goes waxy, and the head turns in ways that break anatomy. This is not a tool for talking head replacement. It is a background generator. Push it past 6 seconds with a face, and you get full distortion. Second, it cannot handle large scene changes. If you want a person to walk out of frame entirely, or a car to drive away into the distance, the model loses track of the background. It will blur the ground or ghost the car. The motion needs to stay within a contained space. Think of it as subtle movement, not a choreographed sequence. If you are a vlogger who wants to use your own face in the clip, do not use this feature. You will scare your audience. If you are an animator expecting frame-level control, this will frustrate you. There is no rotoscoping, no manual motion paths, no way to isolate one element. You get the whole frame moving as a unit. That is the bargain. The tool is great for background plates, product reveals, and atmospheric shots. It is bad for narrative storytelling where the subject must perform an action. The obvious alternative is Pika Labs. It does image-to-video too, and it handles larger motion better than Gen-4. Pika allows you to push a subject across the frame with cleaner results. If your shot requires a person walking from one side to the other, or a car driving a full loop, Pika will hold the scene better. The trade-off is that Pika gives you less realism. The lighting and texture look slightly synthetic compared to Gen-4. Pika also has a slower generation time, around 2 minutes per clip on their standard tier. The one situation where Pika wins is when you need dramatic motion with a clear focal character. Gen-4 will give you subtle elegance. Pika will give you action. If your project is a music video intro or a product demo,